A very good morning, Naledi, and to the viewers. Of course, the main theme of the event, science for social justice. And one of the conversations in terms of social justice, a global one, is the development of coding. Of course, South Africa just catching up on this. But we're going to bring into this conversation Tumelo Nhlapo. Tumelo is the science engagement or facilitator at the UNISA Science Engagement Center. Of course, tertiary institutions do a lot. They are traditionally the ground place of research and development, and we're going to be taking a look at several of these. Tumelo, thank you so much, and thanks for making the time to speak to us this morning.
Thank you, thank you.
I'm a UNISA alumni, so I feel like I'm home. But coding, a very important subject in the world, just in terms of the taking forward development, technological involvement. How prevalent is it in South Africa? Schools are grappling with bringing it into the school curricula. How are we faring in this regard?
Thank you so much once again. I'm Tumelo Nhlapo. I'm from UNISA Science Engagement Center under the College of Science, Engineering and Technology. Part of what we do is to travel the whole country in all 9 provinces, introducing coding and robotics to rural areas, as well as you mentioned in terms of curriculum. That's in terms of now, at the moment, the department is in a pilot phase of introducing robotics to schools. So with us, UNISA, we now help in terms of training teachers. So we go to all 9 provinces. For example, when we go to a province, we have specific target markets. We target our teachers, and then we get to train them from the basics. So our basics are not that complicated, because everyone will think that this is complicated and the likes. So what we do, we first train them how to build a robot and then coding a robot. That includes taking it forward, backwards, left, right, and then making sure that it's able to,
all right, we have all these amazing things on the table that you do. So as you speak to what you do, let's bring in Thabiso Paatjie here just to show us. Are you able to operate any of the contraptions that are on the table? All right, show us how it works.
This one is called Spark Prime. So what we did here, we programmed it to...
Sorry, what's it called?
It's a Spark Prime robot. So it has been programmed to push the TV there. So the theme here is about superpowered electricity generation, as well as conserving electricity. So we're trying to install that into kids whenever...
So robots not for the sake of robots. They've got to be practical. They've got to provide some value.
Correct, yes. And also we're trying to install that mindset of kids problem solving and critical thinking as well.
All right, just show us how it works.
So now here I've programmed this robot to push this people to watch the TV. So there's an energy unit there that should be shown. So as you can see now, the robot will be moving forward, and then people are able to watch the TV there. So now with this, kids are able to understand the importance of electricity, because those are the energy units that you can see there. And then with this one here, I'll be able to program it to move forward, as well as to push the windmill there. So this is all about introducing different types of alternative energy. So I see now it's misbehaving. Let me just quickly do this.
That's okay, we've made the point. Just how do you source the teachers that you teach coding to?
Okay, so as part of an accredited science center, we are given different types of teachers according to the motherboard, which is our relevant stakeholders. So we get those through the motherboard, and then we get to enroll this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you have any success stories to report back, just in terms of the results that your project has been producing?
Yes, the success stories are much greater, and this, helps us and even tells us that we should continue doing this. So the success stories are when the teachers are now able to code, to build, as well as to implement this in their classrooms. So those are some of the success stories that we have.
And just in terms of, walk with me, because I'm going to try to go to the other institution now.
All right.
Just in terms of how the take-up of kids, of coding, especially, I'm interested in the rural areas where you also go.
So in terms of the take-up, like I mentioned earlier on, This is about raising awareness because we're not trying to enforce it. We are raising awareness to say that we're sparking that interest to young kids because there's a perception that maths and science seems to be difficult.
Yeah.
So those are one of the things.
Tumelo Nhlapo, you're doing amazing work. Thank you so much for making the time to speak to us from the World Science Forum. From UNISA, we're now going to UniZulu, their science center. Sir, thank you so much for welcoming us onto your stand. Just tell us about your name and what you do.
Thank you very much. Hi, I'm Dr. Derek Fish. I've been director of UniZulu Science Centre for the past 30 years. In that time, I've seen over 500,000 children, and we've been exposing them to the wonders of science. We always like to start where they are. So take a familiar African music instrument like the
Mbira.
Yeah, and talk about the relationship between the length of the musical instrument and the sound. An instrument like this. How does the frequency change as the length change? Also some rather unusual things. I've got an instrument I play with my nose, the nose flute. So there's our national anthem. And
that's a song we recognize.
That's what we recognize. And, you know, for so many children, they do science at school without ever seeing the equipment and the experiments, and that's not science.
Already I'm feeling like a child with all the things you've done, so I imagine how the children feel just in terms of their engagement with science.
Do you know you can take a drinking straw, if you just cut the edge like that, you can make a musical instrument out of it. Now, what we've been doing for the last 25 years is going to matric students and running workshops to prepare
I'm going to
them
ask my
for the
cameraman
exam.
to come and cover these books that you want to show.
So these are the books that we've been distributing for the last 25 years. During COVID, we actually couldn't go to the students anymore. So what we did is we made a series of videos covering the physics syllabus, the biology syllabus, but then very often, most of our schools actually don't have access to the internet. So we took all these videos and put them on a memory stick like this so that they could go out to schools. This started small in Richards Bay, but there's now 80,000 children throughout the country in every province using this.
When you tell us about this contraption over here.
So we use fantastic equipment from Pasco Scientific. Now this is a smart card, and as it moves, you can actually map the movement. Now if we just look at the screen over there, and in fact you can see in front here, this is actually sensing my movement. Started off there, and as we move in front of this here, you see it's actually moving on the screen there. So
what would be the use of such a contraption?
Students need to learn about graphs and equations of motion, but it's so theoretical, it's so abstract. But by actually walking in front of this and seeing the graph change, it becomes real for them. I don't think there can ever be science for social justice if children don't see the experimental work. And that's what our passion has been, actually taking it, using memory sticks without the internet and exposing 80,000 children to this and making science exciting and fun.
I totally agree with you, but at what point do you start to see or measure the benefits of what you've put in?
Well, the benefits are the fact that more children are taking science, matric marks are getting better, and I've had the privilege of seeing 500,000 children.
Are they though?
Yeah. And
getting better, the matric results?
Not across the country yet, but what I see is thousands of children who greet me in the streets and our doctors and engineers and say, thank you, Dr. Fish, you helped me in 2010, 99 and so on. And so we have that throughput into the careers in science, which is fantastic.
You're based in KZN?
Yes.
Students from across the country, how can they get involved in your project?
So our project was always very localized in Richards Bay, but with COVID and with this project, it's now gone to 9 provinces. So if people just Google UniZulu Science Centre and contact me, I will be happy to send a box of books free of charge to any matric teacher who wants to make use of this program. That's my pledge.
Totally awesome. Thank you so much, doing
Thank
amazing work. Is it Dr. Fish, right?
Dr. Fish, that's
Dr.
right.
Fish from the UniZulu Science Centre, and these are some of the attractions that we're looking at here at the World Science Forum. Let's take you on a break and then it's back to Naledi.